Hey, what's going on everybody? Today we're going to be taking a look at iPadOS 14. We're going to be discussing everything new in this major fall update here. Now it's a whole lot to cover here, so sit back, relax, grab some snacks or something because we're going to be here a while. I also got videos coming on iOS 14, watchOS 7, and tvOS 14, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss any uploads from me. Alright, so let's go ahead and start off here with widgets. So widgets here are very different in iPadOS 14. Every single widget has been completely redesigned here in iPadOS 14. The widgets also come in many different sizes, so you can see that my battery widget is smaller than the stocks widget. So there's basically three different sizes. You can get small ones like this, medium ones, or you can get really large ones, which kind of remind me of like the CNBC one right here. Now we're going to talk about the difference between some of these widgets like the CNBC one compared to the Apple ones, because developers have yet to actually create their own widgets. So there is an API for them to create their own, but since Apple, kind of released the Grandmaster and then a day later, hey, the full update's coming out to everybody, developers haven't had time. But I'm sure over time they're going to come out with some great new widgets, but we'll talk about the differences here in a second. So in order to access widgets, add widgets to your home screen here and change them, all you have to do is either scroll down the bottom and hit edit, or you can simply just hold down on one of the widgets and then edit your home screen. So if you notice, we now have the keep on home screen option right here. Used to, you had to go into your settings and actually choose that, but now it's nice because you can just toggle it on and off right here, as you can see. Now you can easily move widgets around just like this. Now when you're in the jiggle mode here, you can tap on some of the widgets and have some different options for them. But if you want to add a widget, you just simply tap this plus button up here in the top left corner. And then we have all of your widget gallery. So you can see that we have different ones for Apple, of course. So we have the Smart Stack, which is an all-new widget, kind of like a Siri watch face where it determines what you may want throughout the day. So it's got stuff like your calendar, your music, all that kind of stuff. We have a Photos widget, the Notes calendar, your stocks, your maps right here, and Apple News. And then we have batteries and all that good stuff. You can see the list here. Now, like I said, these are all Apple widgets to start things off with. So this is going to obviously change over time, but that's what we got to go off with for now. Okay, so how do you add a widget to this over here? So all you got to do is simply tap on one, and it's going to come up as your three different sizes. So there's the small size, the medium size, and then the large size. So let's say we want the medium size screen time widget here. All you'd have to do is hit the add widget button and it's going to drop it right here. Now you may notice that there's actually kind of an outline here on these and not this one, and that is because this is actually the widgets that you want pinned at all times, so they'll always be in view. So that's why it's like that. But we can put as many as we want right here as well. So yeah, there's a screen time widget. It's in there. It's good to go now. And that's pretty much it. So that's how you use the widgets. And then you can obviously remove those if you don't want them. We can go to the plus button again. So yeah, there's your widget gallery. It's going to be getting a lot more soon, I'm sure. Now, your widgets that have not yet been added to the widget gallery or redesigned, like these two down here. So you can hit this customize button, and when you do that, you have basically the same widget kind of thing we were used to. So that's basically the widgets here in iPadOS 14. The only thing you can't do compared to the phone is you can't put them over here in your apps, which is kind of strange. And also, you cannot have an app library on your iPad either. So yeah, widgets are only going to be over here on the iPad. Okay, so next up here, let's talk about some of the app designing. So they've changed things up in Apple's apps for now. I'm sure other applications will follow suit of this. But basically what they've done, in my opinion, is they've kind of made the menu system more like a Mac. So let me show you what I'm kind of talking about here. So We have new sidebars, so if we tap over here, you notice that it'll pop up on the side. There's also new buttons up top in several of these Apple applications that kind of make things a little easier. You know, used to you'd have to hit this button to do this and that, but now you can just simply hit one button to quickly do what you need to do. Also, they've changed toolbars in some of the applications, and different kind of menus and things like that look a little different. So they've kind of just streamlined the applications and made them a little easier to kind of navigate around with. So I think it's a welcome change, and it's a pretty good change as well. Next thing here is search. So basically what they've done is pretty much put Spotlight on the iPad, which is absolutely amazing. So all you have to do is simply pull down wherever you are, and you are now here in the new search. So it's going to suggest things for you right here, and it's also going to suggest different applications. You can also now search with your voice, which is pretty cool. You can also type pretty much anything you want in here. It'll search the web and everything. So, you know, Siri suggested websites, applications, you can do a Google search. I mean, it's pretty cool. So as you type, search suggestions are very much needed here. And then if you type out an app and it pops up, you just simply hit go and it puts you straight into the application. So search has been very much improved here on the iPad, and I think Spotlight basically being on the iPad is a much needed improvement to get your workflow pretty much better here. Then they've also changed some of the search functions in things like Mail, for example. So searching in Mail is much better than it was. So overall, across the board, they've improved the search functions on your iPad very, very much. Next thing here is the compact user interface. So now whenever you get a phone call or a FaceTime call, it's going to simply pop up here at the top, kind of like a notification, instead of taking up your entire screen. And this is really nice because, you know, you don't want to be interrupted while you're working. Everybody knows you could be doing something and then boom, full screen, somebody's calling you. Now you can just simply swipe up to dismiss the call, or you can, you know, hang it up or answer it, and it'll stay up there even if you're talking to somebody, so you can still be doing work while you are talking on the phone. This is also going to be an API for developers, so like Skype, for example, they could implement this and, you know, have your Skype call pop up there as well. Now the compact UI also goes over to Siri now. So if I hold down the Siri button here, you can see there she is. She's a little tiny dot right here now at the bottom right hand corner of your screen, instead of taking up the entire screen. So basically what this means is you can be in any application and access Siri. So I'll do a quick example here. And by the way, my Siri has been acting up. It hasn't really been working right ever since this update. So let's see if it works for the video here. Tell me a joke. Oh, of course it works right here for the video, but you can see it pops up right there. Now the one thing I don't really like about Siri now is, for example, let's do it one more time here. So you can see it pops up here. Now the problem with this is you actually cannot, you know, put something in. So for example, let's say you ask her, you know, what does this word mean or something like that, or can you give me a definition of this, to type it out, whatever. If you start typing, if I interact with the application, watch what happens. She immediately disappears. So I think that's kind of weird that it would do that, but I can also understand why. But let me know what you guys think about that. You know, do you wish it was like that or not? Now another interesting thing, and I guess I'll go ahead and address this since, you know, Siri uses our microphone here. Whenever an application is using your microphone, or I believe your camera, I know it's microphone for sure, but watch what happens when I hold the Siri button. Let me move a little closer here. So I'm going to hold the Siri button, and we now have a new indicator up here next to our battery percentage. So watch this. You see that little indicator, a little orange dot? That's going to let you know that something is using your microphone. So something is basically recording you. So that's a pretty nice little feature there. It's going to be really hard for some of these applications to hide, you know, what they're doing now with all this new stuff. So you have that new indicator up there, so that is pretty nice. Let's talk about messages. So messages have gotten a lot of new things. Now I can't really show you this because I don't want to show you all my messages, but I'll just kind of hit some of the highlights here. So you can now pin your favorite conversations up top. So if you talk to a whole lot of people and there's one conversation or one person that you talk to frequently, you can pin them to the very top so you can easily access them at all times. You can now mention people in a direct message. So all you have to do is simply type out their name and it mentions them to let them know, hey, this message is directed towards you. And then also you can inline reply to people. So if you're in a group chat and a whole lot of people are talking and you want to respond to just one person, something they said, you can inline reply to them and talk to them that way. So yeah, some very nice changes there with all that. There's also some changes with memojis. I guess you could say this is kind of like, message related stuff. So there's a whole lot of new, options, customizations, stickers, more expressions, more ages, hairstyles. So definitely a lot of stuff there, and you can even put a mask on your Memoji if you want to. Maps has a lot of changes here as well. You now have new guides, so you can basically do like a tour guide or something, take you around the city. There's also new cycling directions for people who want to do that, and even electrical vehicle routing, which I don't know if many people are going to use that, because if you have a Tesla, you have supercharger network on your maps anyways. Also different things like congestion zones and more maps. So yeah, maps, pretty nice changes. Will I probably use any of them? Probably not, but they're here. There's also a lot of new things here to do with home automation. So it will now suggest automations that it thinks you may want. You can also check out a home status, so if any of your different accessories in your house may need some attention, like something's wrong with them, it'll let you know how everything is doing. There's new adaptive lighting for smart light bulbs. There's also a home control center now, which can suggest your most relevant accessories and different times of day and things that you may do. And there is facial recognition if you have any kind of cameras hooked up to your home or whatever. So you can see, if it's an animal, a person, whatever it might be at your door. Okay, so let's talk about Safari. So it has some much needed changes that I very much approve of. So let's go ahead and talk about those. All right, so first off, by default now you will have favicons in your open tabs. So you can see the little Google icon, you can see the favorites icon, and then we have a YouTube icon over there. So that's a nice way to kind of tell what site it is. I know looking at logos I can definitely recognize stuff better than names, so it's kind of nice to have those on by default. I always had them on no matter what, but now they're on by default for everybody. There's now a new web page translation, so if you go to a web page that's a different language and you want to translate it to something else, you can now do that, and all you have to do is tap over here on the AA icon right here. You tap on that and it would pop up here if it was available. Now that is in beta still, so could have some issues here and there, but from what I've seen so far, it appears to work very well. Safari also now has website privacy reports. So this was something I was always kind of, like, why didn't they do this to begin with? But in Safari, of course, everybody knows you can enable prevent cross-site tracking. Well, you enable that and you have no idea what is actually being prevented. You never see a list of trackers or anything like that. And other browsers like Firefox and even Google Chrome tells you, hey, these are all the trackers that we're blocking or all the cookies that we're blocking. So now it's a first step, but they could, obviously make it better over time. But if you tap up here, you can now see your privacy report. So we're on Google's website, you can see one tracker prevented. That sure is a surprise, right? Why would Google be tracking us? But anyways, you can now see what trackers are being prevented. So that is really nice, and if you tap on that, well, it says not enough data to generate a report, but you can actually now see what trackers are being blocked. So that is pretty nice. Also, we have our website settings right here, so request our desktop site, camera, microphone access, all that good stuff. Another thing here that Safari will do now is actually monitor your passwords. So if you save your passwords in your iCloud keychain or whatever, as long as you save them in Safari's password manager, it will monitor your passwords and let you know if it thinks they may have been in a data breach. You may need to change your password and all that stuff. So that's pretty nice. Password monitoring has been in several other major competitor browsers, so it's nice to see that finally here in Safari as well. And then finally, of course, they say this every year, but Safari just gets faster and faster, so obviously you have improved performance. So they say that every year, like I said, so that's basically Safari. If you have AirPods Pro, you'll be happy to know that spatial audio is now available. The latest firmware update is now allowing that here in the latest versions of iPadOS and iOS. So you now have that spatial audio. Also, we have the automatic device switching. I personally haven't tried this out yet because I kind of forgot about it, but now basically your AirPods are going to be able to detect what device you're going to. So for example, if I close my iPad and grab my phone, it'll automatically switch my AirPods over to my phone. So that's pretty cool. You also get low battery notifications for your AirPods now. Instead of just hearing that little sound in your ear, they'll pop up top here. And I also noticed when I connected my AirPods on here earlier that they actually pop up now saying connected. So that's pretty nice as well. There's some more privacy practices in place here in this latest version of iPadOS. So you now have more privacy information available to you on the App Store. So if we go into the App Store, you can actually see that it's a little bit redesigned here, kind of telling you who the developer is, the size, all that. I can't actually find what they were even talking about they were going to do. The only thing I can find is a new privacy policy button, but I thought it was going to be something a little different than that. But yeah, so they're kind of making it a little more transparent on the App Store for people. If we go into our privacy settings here, we can see a new tracking section up here under location services, but you can see that it is disabled because Apple gave in to companies like Facebook who were complaining about not being able to track people because they wouldn't have any ad revenue. Yeah, maybe this will be implemented in the future, but now it's probably going to be a little rigged. So, I don't know what they're going to do about that, but you now have a new tracking thing here, so apps will be required to ask before they can track you. So that's pretty nice, but who knows what its fate is now. Another cool thing here is you can now choose to share an approximate location with an application instead of your actual location. So let me show you how this works. So if you go into your privacy and you tap location services and you simply tap on an application from your list, you can now see down at the bottom it says precise location. You can toggle that on or off. So if you toggle this off, it is going to share only an approximate location. So that is actually pretty cool. Nice privacy feature there. Really like that. You guys need to make sure that once you update, you go and you check your privacy settings because there's just so much new stuff that you may want to toggle some things on and off. I mean, think about what you can do with this right here, sharing your precise location. That's pretty cool. Also, with your photo library, you can actually choose now whether or not to share your entire photo library with an app or only partial photos. So if you go into your privacy settings, you go down to photos here, you'll see a list of applications that have access to your photos or you've given access to them. You can tap on which one you want and you can now see this right here. So allow photo access for GoodNotes, for example. Selected photos, all photos, or none. So you can actually tap on the selected photos and it'll bring up your gallery and you can literally tap on the ones you want them to see. So that's another nice privacy feature there. So another thing here in privacy is you can actually upgrade now to sign in with Apple. So if you have an existing account with a developer, or developer's application I should say, they can implement a new thing that lets you upgrade your current account to a sign in with Apple account. So some people may want to do that and it's nice because you won't have to set up an entirely new account. Just move everything over to sign in with Apple. Now another thing I've noticed here in the privacy settings, and I've already had this pop up several times when I'm going to different apps, we now have a new local network section. So if you tap on that, is do you want apps to have access to other devices on your local network? So for example, YouTube, you can use YouTube to actually connect to your TV, for example, to watch a video or something like that. So you can now choose whether or not you want apps to have access to that. So another neat privacy thing. Again, guys, like I said, once you update to iPadOS 14 or iOS 14, go to your privacy settings and make sure all this stuff checks out, because there's so much new stuff and so many new things you can implement here that I think everybody should take a look at this and get their privacy settings right. Another thing here, of course, is the app clips. I haven't used this yet either. I don't even know if you can use it yet, but basically what this allows you to do is quickly use part of an app instead of actually installing it. So if you go somewhere and you can like scan a QR code and get the app clip. So I think the example they used in the keynote was like those rentable scooters, like the bird scooters or whatever they're called. You could literally scan the app clip, it installs part of the app for you. You can rent your scooter, you can pay for it, all that good stuff, without even installing the application. The Apple Files app now has the ability to access APFS encrypted hard drives. So if you plug in your external drive and it's encrypted, you can enter the password now and access the contents on that drive. Another thing here you can do is actually set your default browser to something other than Safari and set your default mail client to something other than Mail. So I'm not sure what's able to do this yet. I know Outlook can be a mail client now, and I think you can probably do Chrome or Firefox for your default web browser, so that's pretty neat. Pretty much every Apple application has had a tweak or a change here and there, so reminders, FaceTime, all that stuff has had improvements in performance and minor changes in menus and all that good stuff. Final thing I want to do here to wrap up this video is talk about some of the new Apple Pencil features. So we're going to be using the first gen Pencil here. So if we go to our settings and we scroll down a little bit, we now have a new Apple Pencil section. So you have your Apple Pencil battery life, only draw with the Apple Pencil toggle, Scribble, so that's a new feature, but let's go ahead and try it. So this is how you basically do the new Scribble. So you can now use the Apple Pencil to scribble or write in any text field. So let's go ahead and just write Apple right there, and you can see it puts it automatically in the text field. So that's pretty cool. So you can do this on Safari or any text field really. Let's go ahead and just try it a little more. And the handwriting recognition is actually pretty good. I mean, I have terrible handwriting, so the fact that it can read that, very good. You can now scratch to delete, so we just want to scratch on a word, it deletes it for us. Scratch out, scratch, so pretty nice. So that's a quick way to kind of edit your text fields as well. If you want to select something, you just simply draw a line over it, so you can select some text or just one word or something like that. And you can even also circle a word to select it also. You can now insert words into text that is already there. So if we just hold in the middle here, and it's a little bit, and it really don't work for me too much, I'll tell you that. There we go. So you hold it and then you can put in, well, you guys can tell I have no idea what I'm doing. There we go. So now we can put that right there, and it kind of works, kind of doesn't, but the final thing here is join. So if you have a space or something, you simply just draw a line straight down and it puts it in just like that. I think most people though will definitely be using the handwriting feature here. Another neat thing is you can also double tap to select a word, or you can triple tap to select an entire sentence, and then of course, like I said, the drag to select. So if you use an Apple Pencil frequently, these new features are going to be very good for you. And also there are different data detectors, so if we write, I don't know if it'll work right here, it might, but you can, write something out, hold down on it, for example, a date. So like, I need to do this at 3 p.m. You can hold down on that, make a calendar event or a reminder. Or if you write out an address, it'll, know it's an address. So that's pretty nice also. And then for shapes, it's not going to work here, I don't think, but we all can't draw a perfect circle, so if you do that, and it'll make a perfect shape for you. But guys, I hope I covered it all. I know it's a lot, and I probably missed some things, but these updates, iOS 14 and iPadOS 14, they are just so massive this time, and so many new things in these updates. So I hope I covered everything. I think I did. I know this video right now says it's 52 minutes long, so I mean, there's just a ton of stuff here with iPadOS. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you today on iPadOS. Be sure to stay tuned. Like I said, I'll have other videos to do with the other software releases very soon. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if I missed anything or what your favorite feature is in iPadOS 14. But anyways, like I said, that's all I got for you. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you all in the next one.